Hello everyone, welcome back to Around the Farm. I'm going to update you on just what's happened in the last few days, and then we're going to go work on another project. But the other day, Friday or Saturday, I think it was Friday, I was out riding snowmobile, and across the highway I was jumping some drifts, and I came down a little too hard the one time, and I think, on a snowmobile there's a motor that drives a belt, and the belt drives a chain, and the chain drives the track. And I think what I did was I broke the chain, and so I got to pop that apart and see what I can do to fix that. But if you're interested, or if you've been watching my my Skidoo series at all, I'll have the videos for that up on that series, and we'll probably do a step-by-step instruction on what needs to be done to fix it. So if you're into that series at all, be looking forward to that. I do have one more video of some riding that I did this winter that I'm probably going to put up, but this is probably going to become a summer project now, because for one, I just don't have the time to fix it right now, and for two, it's starting to get pretty warm outside, and so it won't be long now and all this snow is going to melt. And quite frankly, that thing's not as much fun to ride when the snow is like that, when it's all snowbally like, instead of like when it's powder it's pretty fun, or when it gets iced over it's pretty fun and it just kind of skates across the top. Like those drifts right there would be fun to hit right now, but it's too hard packed, or it's too heavy. I mean, when it gets real heavy like that, that thing doesn't float too well, and so it's not nearly as much fun to ride. But that's where that's at. So like I said, if you're into that series at all, be looking for that video. Maybe this spring, maybe this summer. It's going to depend on how things end up with where I'm moving to, and whether or not I even have a place to work on it. But keep your eyes open for that. All right, guys, we're down here in the barn now, and we've started dropping lambs for the year. I'm just coming down here to check and see if anything else is looking like it's lambing yet. This one right here almost looks like it's going into labor, but we'll see if she'll get up here. We got some big ones this year. Just off the top of my head, I don't see any other new babies laying around here that need to be taken care of right away. That's the first thing I always check for when I come down here, is if anything has been born. We try to identify the mother right away and get them in their own separate pen. But it don't look like we have any floppers today. But we didn't start out so good. We had a couple that were born premature, and then we had one that was dead when I got to it. But now we're starting to get some good lambs. We got a nice set of twins here. A big single. Looks like another single here. A couple of twins. And another single. So not great number-wise, but these look like some good healthy lambs. And I'm going to go ahead and probably change some waters out and stuff here, because some of their waters are looking kind of dirty. And so the last thing I'm going to tell you about is what the deal is with my tractor here. I started it up for the first time this summer, and the only time I guess, and I didn't have any oil pressure. And if you haven't seen the video yet, I'll leave a link here in the video, but go ahead and check out the video of when I was rebuilding this tractor when I was in high school. But anyways, so no oil pressure usually isn't a good thing. So I started tearing into it the other day, now that we got it in the shop. And basically what I found out is, for anybody that's familiar with these old 2-cylinder John Deeres, is you can see the crankshaft in there. There's an oil line that goes down through this hole right here, and goes down to the oil pump, and it comes up to the governor, which sits right up here. And basically it brings oil to the governor and the oil pressure gauge. And so not a huge deal. I mean, that's not a whole lot of parts that are affected by that. But basically what happened was, this is the oil line that goes down there up to the governor. And if you can see it on the video here, there's this flat spot. And basically what was happening is the crankshaft lobe right here was rubbing on this oil line, and it actually rubbed it back and forth enough that not only did it wear on the line, but it worked this nut loose. And so when this nut worked loose, then the oil must have been, best guess, and not 100% sure that this is a problem, but the oil must have been squirting out of the top of there instead of getting up to the governor and to the oil pressure gauge, and that is why the oil pressure gauge was not reading anything. And so that didn't necessarily mean that we didn't have oil pressure anywhere in the tractor. Yeah, the oil pressure gauge wasn't working, I think, because there was basically no oil getting to the gauge, even though the rest of the engine was getting oil. At that point, the oil was leaving the system and just going back into the crankcase. And so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find that line or if I'm going to have to make one. I found a few of them on eBay, but you basically have to buy the whole set of lines, and then people want a good penny for them, and they're still used, and so you don't really know 100%, what kind of shape they're going to be in. But so we'll get that figured out, and it is a pain in the butt to get down in there to get it fixed. But I got some crow's feet that can get in there a little bit better, and there was one other line. So on the bottom of this gear here, there's a rod that goes down to the oil pump, and that's what drives the oil pump, is this gear that runs off of the camshaft. And so that rod that runs down, that runs the oil pump, was rubbing on another oil line, but I don't think it wore that one through, so I'm going to get that one bent out of the way once I get this other one replaced, and then hopefully they stay where they're supposed to be and I don't have to worry about this problem again. But hopefully that's all it's going to take to fix it. But as long as I had it apart, I went ahead and took the clutch linkage apart because basically a lot of the parts in the linkage are really worn out and the handle just flopped all over the place. And so we're going to go ahead and replace some bushings, or add some bushings where we need them, and replace some pins, and hopefully get that tightened back up, because I don't like the way that handle is flopping all over the place. Now there's a lot of other things I would like to do to this tractor, but we're going to wait until I have my own place to work on it, I think. And right now I got wedding stuff to figure out, and we signed on a rental place, and so we got to figure out when we're moving into that, and got all kinds of other things going on right now. But there's, I'd love to get the brakes working better. They don't really spring back like they're supposed to, and I know on the inside they're kind of, everything's loose, and they were all frozen and everything when we bought it, and so we just did the best we could to get everything unstuck. But I'd love to get that fixed. I'd love to get the actual fuel tanks put back in this thing instead of just the small plastic gas can, and so I might take one of the fuel tanks into a guy that's down here that works on these things and have him open it up, clean it out, and seal it. I was going to try and do that myself, but it might just be easier to have him do it. And there's a lot of other little things I'd love to do, and then eventually it is going to get repainted. When I did this when I was in high school, I pretty much just spray painted everything, and so we're going to clean it all back off, and I'll probably get the dents and everything pounded out of the hood, because the hood's got a few dents, and I'll get the hood and stuff painted, and the nose painted at a body shop, so it's really professional. And then my fiance's uncle and his kid, they'd paint a lot of stuff during the winter time, so maybe next winter we'll put a new coat of paint on it, and do it with the hardener and all that kind of stuff, so it's a much more durable coat of paint. But yeah, so hopefully that's all it takes to get this thing running, because I plan on it being the getaway vehicle for the wedding, which is about 45 days away, and so that doesn't give us a whole lot of time to get it back together, but we'll see what happens. And that's all I got for you for updates for now. Sorry if this video got a little bit long, but please leave a like, share, subscribe, and check back for more, and thanks for watching.